Okay, cool.
I think maybe
Shall we
there's a
start
big
then?
delay.
Oh,
Opening. Authenticator.
sorry.
I
You
think,
think there's a big delay?
yeah.
Okay. Well, we can battle through. We'll be all right. Wait, hang on. So I'm going to say something. I want you to immediately reply. Um,
Okay.
what's 5 plus 5?
10.
What's 1 plus 2?
3.
That took a while. That took ages.
It did. That's what I'm saying. 1 plus 1.
2.
You have a 4-second delay.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But maybe it's gone back to normal. Ask me a question.
Has it gone back to normal?
I think so.
What's your name?
Alex.
What's your name?
Alex.
That's about 2 seconds. What's your name?
Alex.
Um, what's 5 plus 5?
10.
That's still a second or so, I think.
Well, because I was thinking again.
All right. Say something.
Alex.
Say something.
Ah.
Say something.
Ah.
It's not too bad. That's about a second.
Okay.
1,
2,
3,
4,
5,
5.
6.
Sorry, I got confused. Go again.
1,
2,
3,
4,
5.
5, 6. Again.
1,
2,
3,
4,
5,
6,
7,
8,
9.
10.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's a normal delay. I think we can
Okay.
cope.
Okay. Shall we start?
Yeah, let's start. You absolute maniac.
Why?
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
All right, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Culture Bucket Podcast. You are listening to the hottest, freshest, most delicious and juicy podcast that's ever hit your ears. This is episode number 26, and today we're getting salty, we're getting sweet, we're getting licoricey. We are entering the world of food to discuss our favourite food on screen. I'm your host, George, and with me is your other host, Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Alex.
What's that face?
What face?
You did such a disappointed face.
No, it's not disappointing. It's fine.
Are you sure? You're like,
Yeah, positive. How are you
okay.
today?
I am great. How are you today, George?
I'm good. It's Sunday, March the 7th.
Yeah.
Is it the 7th today?
March the 7th.
March the 7th on the day I'm recording in the UK. Tomorrow is March the 8th, the big return of schools in the UK when we're beginning our roadmap out of lockdown, which is
Yeah.
exciting. So by
Yeah.
the time you hear this, who knows what stage we'll be at. It's going to be
Who
interesting.
knows?
Who
Yeah.
knows?
We have just closed the schools in Italy.
Right, yeah. That sounds about right.
So it's just the opposite.
Well, you better sort it out because people in England want to go to Italy on their summer holidays this year.
Yeah, but they can't.
Well, they want to. England's getting all excited about the prospect of going on summer holidays without really thinking about the fact that other countries might not be ready.
Yeah. It's an incredible thing because people will book their holidays and then they'll have to cancel them and they want refunds, but the refund policy is really hard now. So Not hard, strict. Are you enjoying that cold beverage that you really mess up my audio when I try to
It's because
edit?
it's a metal cup with a metal straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in recent, I think it's a new cup, and in recent editing moments, I hear, and then it's like, shall I take it off? And I just don't bother because they're too many. Where's your
Alright.
water bottle?
Well, my
Using
water bottle makes a noise like a bird. Can you hear this?
No, because you're away from the microphone. Yeah, now now I can't hear anything. I think
Fair enough.
I think the is worse.
All right, sorry. It's a cool metal cup with a metal straw. I drink Vimto out of it
Absolutely.
like a boss.
Absolutely, but it's my editing nightmare.
Sorry, apologise.
It's fine. It
Right.
adds to the front room feel that we're trying to achieve with this.
Yeah, just a couple of mates with a couple of delicious Vimtos.
Have you got
having a
Vimto in your
time.
cup?
Yeah.
I've never had Vimto.
You've never had Vimto?
No.
It was invented in Manchester, greatest city in the world. So I like it.
You'll have to send me some.
Okay. You did live in England for a long time. It was readily. Can you get it in down south? It's not just available in Manchester, surely.
No, like I know what it is. I've seen it, but I've only seen kids drink it.
No, it's delicious for all ages. Anyone can schlurple the purple.
Sorry, Slurple the purple.
Yeah, that was the Vimto advertising slogan.
Oh, okay. I thought you just made something incredible up, but you didn't.
No. Some genius in the 90s invented that one. Purple Ronnie, I think that was the guy that in the Vimto adverts.
And you were gonna
Anyway.
slurp on his purple. That's a little bit inappropriate, isn't it?
Well, it is when you change what it is and say it differently like that. So we've got culture catch up to do. Then we've got homework
Yeah.
based on it was a free homework last week, so that'll be interesting. And then we've got our top 5 food on screen. Plenty to get through. Let's get started with culture catch up time.
Now,
Yeah.
This is culture catch-up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture catch-up time.
So it wasn't too much of an eventful week for me, culture-wise. I've not got loads of stuff to talk about, but that's okay. Starting with, I watched the latest Walt Disney animated studios movie that hit Disney Plus at the weekend, Raya and the Last Dragon.
yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, it's similar to the live action Mulan film. They have done a premiere access thing where you have to pay to access it. So I split the
Yeah.
cost again with a friend and watched it. And it's one of the rare Disney movies where there's no songs. It's not a musical at all. It's just like an action animation film. A bit like, I guess, Zootopia is a recent example of that, or Big Hero 6 even is like that. But it does feature the latest Disney princess Raya.
Okay.
Yeah, voiced by Kelly Marie Tran, who people might know from the Star Wars movies. She played Rose. And Awkwafina voices the Last Dragon.
Who?
Awkwafina, you talked about her last week.
Okay. Sorry. Yes.
She voices Ceesay, the Last Dragon. It's based on Southeast Asian folklore, so sort of Thailand, that region of the world. But it's set in a fictional world called Kandera, I think. Let me look it up. Set in the fictional world of Kamandra, where these various tribes all live along this huge river. The center of the world is basically this enormous river that's in the shape of a dragon. And sometime in the past, before the film starts, the world was united as one. Then this big bad thing happened, and the world split into various sections that name themselves after which part of the Dragon River they're along. So there's the Heart Kingdom, the Fang Kingdom, the Spine Kingdom, the Tail Kingdom. I think there's one more as well. the Talon's kingdom.
Mm.
And they all are sort of at war a bit at the start of the movie. Something happens that sort of again creates this world-ending event that leads to Raya, the Disney princess, kind of being ended up orphaned on her own, like so many Disney characters before her. And
Mm.
it is her mission to find the last dragon, reunite the world, and save it from the darkness that is spreading across it. Um, and in doing so, she finds the last dragon early on and teams up with it and stuff. It's a good film. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it quite a lot. It's not going to be in my top 5 Disney movies probably, but
Mm.
it's cool to see an area of the world that maybe hasn't really been represented in Disney before,
Yeah.
given some love, and they give it a lot of love. Like the highlight of the movie is definitely like the art design and the world design, and the
Amazing.
setting is amazing.
Mm.
And yeah, it's really cool. So I would recommend Raya and the Last Dragon pretty heavily. I definitely think you'd like it. I think you'd dig it. It's it's all the kind of worlds
Yeah.
that you enjoy,
Yeah.
the area of the world that you like and stuff. So, and Awkwafina is amazing as the voice of Ceesay the Last Dragon.
She is amazing. Like
Yeah.
because I don't know what her story is, but this first time I watched her career path. What I don't know what her career is, but the first time I watched her, like I know her as a comedy character, and I saw her in Crazy Rich Asians, and she's hilarious in it. And then in The Farewell, which I thought she was amazing, and she didn't even seem like the same person. So I think she's great. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think she started off as a comedian slash rapper.
How did she?
Yeah. She's got like an EP, I think, on Spotify. She's got some music out there for sure. Her big song early on was a song called My Vag, and I won't go into any more details about it. But no, she's good. I like her. She's a good person. She's good in Raya and the Last Dragon. So that was that. That was cool. Then I watched a movie from 2004. You might have seen this film called The Girl Next Door.
I don't
It's
know.
it's a coming of age film, like a high school American comedy, starring Emil Hirsch as a kid who's about to go to prom and graduate from high school and stuff. And a new girl moves in next door to his house, played by Alicia Cuthbert.
Yeah, I've seen this film.
Yeah, and they start going out, and then he finds out that she is a adult film actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never seen it before, but I'd always heard about it, and I got outside of anything that matters in the podcast, but I got in a bad mood the other day due to some other work related reasons, and needed something really simple to sort of relax me. So I was like, oh, I'll watch that movie. I've never seen that before. So yeah, Emil Hirsch plays this kid who starts going out with Alicia Cuthbert, finds out that she's an adult film actress, and sort of struggles to deal with that, which is understandable because it would be quite a big surprise. And then people from her past sort of start to interfere in their relationship and try to drag her back to her old career, whereas he wants to sort of help her, do what she wants to do, kind of thing. Apparently, when it came out, it was really, really slated. It didn't do very well. Famous American film critic Roger Ebert described it as a nasty piece of business. Because I'm forever looking up movies and seeing that Roger Ebert had some moral issue with them, but people seem to love him as like a film critic. I've always found him seems a bit sort of moralizing to me, but yeah, it should just be. I actually tried to watch before I watched The Girl Next Door. I put on a movie that's on Disney Plus called I Love You, Beth Cooper. Have you heard of that at all?
Yeah, I've seen it as well.
Oh, have you? It stars
Mm.
Paul Rust, the
Yeah.
guy from Love.
Yeah.
Playing a high school senior in America, so should be about 18, and he looks about 36 in it.
Yeah.
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 I
Yeah.
and Hayden Panettiere from Heroes plays the love interest in that.
Yeah.
I found that to be too bad. I turned it off. It was awful.
That's a pretty
It's
bad film.
really, really awful. Which is why I put on The Girl Next Door instead. And The Girl Next Door easily could have been a really bad film. Like, it's got a premise that could easily be quite trashy, but it
Mm.
treats it with enough, like, it doesn't really judge her too much for that being in her past. It's just it presents it as a fact and stuff.
Mm.
Um, which I kind of appreciate. It seems a bit ahead of its time almost for sort of not judging her, maybe judging the industry a bit, but not judging her specifically so much.
Mm.
Which I liked. And it's got this really weird cast where you've got Alicia Cuthbert, who I was a big fan of when I was growing up. You've got Emile Hirsch, who's this very
Sorry. Yeah.
interesting character actor. Um,
Yeah.
and then one of his friends in it is played by Paul Dano, who's in like There Will Be Blood, Little Miss
Mm.
Sunshine, like has become this really unusual character actor as well, and is in this just playing like the high school best friend. Like it's got this cast that are kind of better than the film deserves in a way, and they really elevate it. And especially the sort of villain of the film, the producer that comes in to kind of cause a load of problems, is played by Timothy Olyphant, who I love. I was so excited when he turns up, and he's got this mad hair in it, and he just looks. It's just classic Timothy Olyphant, and he's the bad guy, but he's always smiling, and it's so
Mm.
good. He's great in this movie. So I really liked The Girl Next Door. I thought it was brilliant. What do you think of it? You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it a very long time ago, so I don't
Yeah, I can
really
imagine.
remember exactly what happens. But I seem to have enjoyed. I remember that. I think it was good. Like I enjoyed
Yeah.
it because
Yeah, it's funny. It's got some
I
really
kind of
funny scenes.
like those kind of films, and
Yeah, you do.
yeah, 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 I do. Yeah. So, but is it on Disney Plus?
No, I watched it on Prime Video,
Oh,
so you might
maybe
get it on
something to
there.
watch again.
Yeah, I definitely recommend going back to it. I thought it held up really well. It's good. Good film. Then the last movie, I only watched 3 movies this week. The last one was I spoke a few weeks ago about the two early 2000s horror slasher film Wrong Turn.
Mm.
This week I watched the reboot, not a remake, more of a reboot, which is also called Wrong Turn, but it's from 2021 rather than 2001. Um, and the original Wrong Turn I thought was awful. I think I mentioned how much I didn't like it. I really hated it, and it was about kids that get lost in the woods and attacked by sort of cannibalistic hillbillies, I suppose you'd call them. This one is trying to capture. This new film has got the similar setup: teenagers getting lost in the woods, but it's trying to capitalize on the kind of popularity of films like Midsummer, like the folk horror genre that's kind of big at the
Mm.
moment.
Mm.
So instead of looking like kind of cannibalistic hillbilly farmers, the bad guys in this all wear sort of fur cloaks and have animal skulls for masks and stuff. Yet they're still out in the backwoods of America, which is an odd, like, it doesn't quite fit the idea that in the backwoods of America would be this tribal group of people that look like they're from Norway. As opposed
Mm.
to the middle of America, which is odd. And it's the whole film feels a bit like that. It feels like that's what they want their aesthetic to be, but they haven't wanted to do the work in terms of finding a reason for that to be the case. If you see what I mean,
Mm.
they just are.
Yeah.
Um, it's not a brilliant movie, but it's much better than the original, in my opinion. It kind of has a bit more of an interesting plot. It's definitely too long. It's like an hour and 50 minutes long, and it shouldn't be any more than an hour and a half, but it's
Mm.
partly because it kind of reaches what would be the traditional like climax for a film like this, and then it carries on for about 20 minutes, and that's probably the best stuff in the film because it keeps on twisting itself into different like mad plot twists, and it kind of gets more and more outrageous and interesting, and that stuff's really good. But there's probably about half an hour at the start of kids just wandering around in a forest that could easily be trimmed from it, and it'd be
Mm.
fine. But if you like folk horror films, for example, Midsummer, Wicker Man, more recent movies like maybe The Ritual, which is on Netflix, if you like that kind of thing, you probably will get something out of the new Wrong Turn movie. So I'd recommend people give that a go. Um, Other than that, I've a couple of music things to talk about. The Architects album I mentioned last week, I've listened to that a bunch more this week, and it's really, really good. It's called For Those That Wish to Exist, and it just got the number one album in the UK. Architects, that's their first number one album, and also it's pretty rare to see a metal album or heavy rock album go to number one in the UK. So it's pretty good. I think that's a pretty cool thing, and I'd recommend people check out that album. It's a good one. And then after our discussions last week, I also listened to a bunch of Blackpink this week.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Um, Annoy me in terms of that album that's called The Album is 25 minutes long, and it should be longer. But
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, but it's a lot of fun. I like them. So thank you for putting me onto Blackpink.
I'm obsessed. Like, I listen to them every day. I'm
I remember
obsessed.
ages
Like,
ago you mentioned that you didn't really like them.
yeah, and then I watched the documentary, which is called on Netflix, the Blackpink documentary.
Yeah.
And because I listened to the album and I really like the song "Lovesick Girls," and I still love it.
Okay.
It's my favorite.
That's a good song. Yeah.
And I
Lovesick
think,
girl.
like for example, like I said with Big Bang, I never got into them until I went to their gig.
Yeah.
They're not a gig, their concert in a stadium, and I got into them really kind of obsessively after seeing them. And the same with Blackpink, like after watching the documentary and kind of figuring out who they are and the work that goes behind their music, and watching Coachella, which I think they were really great and they could like do something a little bit different, not so um military and regimented as they would do in Japan or Korea, because
All
in
right. Did
Japan,
they kind of do something a bit different for Coachella?
well, they're a little bit less it's a bit more, yeah, it's looser, because if you go to a concert in Japan, people just hold like, so it is kind of like a thing to at a concert you buy this little lantern, and
Yeah.
and this little lantern will have the logo of the artist you're seeing. So when I went to see Big Bang, which is this Korean mega band,
Mm.
K-pop band, I bought this thing, and everybody does the same gestures, depending on the song. And so it's kind of like, and they do the band or the group does their job really well and does the dancing and nothing goes wrong and is very choreographed and well. But in Coachella, you had like a looser crowd, and they seemed a little bit looser as well, like not as regimented. And so after watching the documentary, Coachella, and just like, I don't know, I got obsessed and I loved them. But I didn't say I didn't like the album. I said it was just a K-pop album that it didn't seem as good as it could have been. And I think
Yeah.
they're better
No, that's fair.
live.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Does the documentary have much live footage in it, or is it
There is a
mainly?
bit, yeah. But
Okay.
also it shows. I learned a lot from the documentary actually, because it shows, like for example, they train. Like I knew they trained, so they train before they get released into the wild.
Yeah.
Before they debut, these girls or boys train for years. So for example, the one of them trained for like 9 years before she debuted. And so they go to this place where they do dancing and schooling and singing lessons. In fact, they're all really good singers.
Mm.
And then they decide which girls and which boys work well together, and then they create bands. And it shows. And the interesting thing is, it's the K-pop industry. What this pop industry is really hard work for the artists. But usually the artist's like, oh, it's fine, we work hard. But in the documentary, they're like, oh, we're tired. Like, we're very tired. We work really hard. And they talk about mental health. And that's really interesting to do that, because I've never seen any other K-pop band that would be so open to um, actually be truthful to their audience. But because they're so good at ticking all the boxes, they know what maybe the West is looking for, more personal struggle, because we're more open to that. While in the East, I'm not generalizing, but it's like that. This is, you just work and you do your duty and you do your thing without talking about your personal struggle, because that's your duty. I feel like maybe to be more appealing to the West, they've decided to make them more real, which is good, because they work like machines. Like they work really, really hard. And if you watch the documentary, it's really interesting. Not very long, on Netflix. You actually see them just going, "Oh my god, I'm so tired."
Well, I've enjoyed the music, so I think I'll probably check out the documentary, which is surprising because I think K-pop is a load of nonsense generally.
Yeah, but unless you find a band that you really like, we have
Yeah.
friends that are obsessed with K-pop, but they're not obsessed with
Oh,
all
yeah,
of the
yeah.
K-pop. They're obsessed with one band or one artist.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and so you have to get your niche of artist, and
Yeah,
then
because it was always Big Bang, and I just don't like them at all.
yeah.
And the girls one, when we were living in Japan, the girl band that people liked was it Girls' Generation,
Girls' Generation, yeah.
and they were rubbish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did not care
But
for
like
them
if you
either.
like if you I've you've listened to 21, no? I introduced you to 21.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you need to
Sorry.
find your niche. No. For example, I like Big Bang, 21, and now I like Blackpink, but I'm not into any others, but I think it's normal because
Not
they're
BTS.
oh no.
Um. Okay, so that was music. The only thing left for me to talk about is TV. And thanks to Disney Plus adding Star to its catalog, I have watched the entire first season of 24 this week.
Amazing.
Have you ever seen any 24, Alex?
I think I've seen like a couple of episodes, but I wasn't for me.
No. It's very
No.
tense.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, 24 was just about one of my favorite things. I was
Mm.
obsessed with the TV show when I was growing up because it started in 2001, so I'd have been 13ish, about 13. And it was peak like action movie love for me, peak James Bond love, and then this TV show that had like every week was like a mini action movie. Was just my dream thing. So I used to love it. We all would watch it as a family. It ran for 8 seasons and then an extra mini season, uh, and like a TV movie as well. They did of it, and I watched all of it and just loved it. Was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer. Thought that Jack Bauer was the coolest character ever. Brought a bag specifically because it looked a bit like the bag that he had in one of the seasons, and I
Mm.
wanted Jack Bauer's bag. So I had this like over the shoulder sort of carrier bag that I didn't even keep anything in. That I just like took to college with me because it looked like Jack Bauer's bag. Like I was in deep. And then I haven't watched it in years. So when they added it to Disney Plus, similar to Buffy, I was a bit like, oh, that's a comforting thing that I liked when I was younger. I'll check that out again. And it's just so addictive. I just got so into it this week and watched. I think on Friday I watched about 5 episodes in a row to finish the season, and just got through it all. And it's it's so good. I love it so much. It's got the perfect mix of like mad action movie stuff mixed with like character building that you really like. You really kind of fall in love with some of the characters in it, and then they kill them off quite often. It was like Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones, where like every season there'd be at least one or two characters that would die, they get killed off, that you'd grown to love over the past like 3 or 4 seasons. And then just the central conceit of do you know what the central like hook of the idea of the show is?
Well, like one one episode is 1 hour,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and in 24 hours he has to save the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so yeah, that would be the end of my culture catch up.
Cool beans. It's my turn. Well, have you not watched the last episode of WandaVision?
Oh, I have. Have you?
Yeah.
All right,
Let's talk
okay.
about
What
it
do you want?
first, so it could
All
be
right,
like
okay.
your culture catch up blends in my culture catch up because we're catching up on some cultures together.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, have you watched the last episode of WandaVision?
Mm-hmm. I have watched the last episode of WandaVision.
Yes.
What did you think of it? And let's go spoilers. Skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled on
Yeah,
WandaVision, because
skip
it's
ahead.
been out for a few weeks by the time this comes out.
Yeah, so skip ahead if you haven't watched it and you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Well, so I was it was painful for me to watch. I
Yeah.
was sad. Painful in the sense of feelings. It hurt my feelings. I felt it was a good ending, I
Yeah.
feel. Um like I was really confused because I think I don't know, I think because I'm not as um, I thought she already knew she was the Scarlet Witch,
No.
but she didn't. The only reason I thought she knew she was the Scarlet Witch was because she had the Scarlet Witch costume at the Halloween party, and for some reason I had forgotten that she didn't know.
Yeah, I think that was meant to be a bit of an Easter
Inter-
egg or a subconscious nod to it rather than.
Yeah, but I was really weirded out, and then when that happened, I was like, oh. I just because I think I live in a world where I just like I'm surprised at things. But okay, so never mind. um, no, I thought it was really good, and I really liked the witch. What's her name?
I give her Harkness.
Yes, I thought that was interesting, and how more powerful Wanda got throughout the episode. So the more she
Yeah.
realized that she was a witch, the more she kind of like then became natural to her, and she became really powerful. Like the way
Mm.
she tricks her at the end
That
was
was really cool with the runes.
amazing, because
Yeah.
you don't I don't know, because I was expecting something to happen, as maybe the power was too strong for the other witch, so she would implode. That
Oh
was
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
thought, because I knew something was going to happen, because of course
yeah,
Wanda wasn't going to die.
yeah.
But then when the keys came on, I was like, oh my god, I didn't even I could have imagined that for some reason, because it's such a small part in episode 8.
Yeah. No, it was really
Where
cool. It
she
was clever.
Yeah, really clever, because the keys, what are they called, keys?
Runes.
The runes, the keys. The runes were like, I think, either episode 7 or episode 8 were just introduced, but that was it. It's like, well, those are runes.
Yeah,
Sayonara,
yeah, yeah.
okay. And then she
No, it was
put
good.
them. Yeah, it was really good, really clever.
Mm,
When it ended, I was crying. I was really sad when it ended.
fair. Did you watch the post-credit sequences?
Yeah,
Both of them.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I didn't understand the last one.
Well, that was her. I think she was meant to be in when she's in the shed or in the
Yeah,
cabin.
in a cabin. Yeah,
Well, she was reading the Darkhold in that scene, which is a book of dark
yeah,
magic.
yeah. But she,
Apparently create. Go on.
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Well, apparently created by a elder god or something called Chthon,
Mm.
who apparently she's in her birthplace in Sokovia in that scene, and the
Mm.
mountain behind her in the comics is where this elder god lives. So that's kind of a hint at something apparently. And the Doctor Strange theme is playing over it, so that's kind of the start of linking her into Doctor Strange's next movie. Um, and I'm sure
Yeah,
you
but
can hear the voices of her
yeah,
children, can't you?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what it
But
was.
yeah, but she's having a cup of coffee, and then there's another her as the Scarlet Witch reading the book.
Yeah, she's like astral projecting her spirit, I
Okay, so
guess.
okay,
Yeah.
so that's the only thing I didn't understand. I was like, why, what is this?
Yeah, it's
Why,
some sort of
what?
like astral projection,
Okay, okay.
I
And the
think.
one before was was what's his? I want to say Captain Boner, but it's not Captain Boner. What's it? What's the name?
Captain Rambeau, Monica Rambeau.
Captain Boner. Monica Rambo gets called somewhere up in the sky, in the space. So that's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
And
yeah,
also
yeah.
the
So I
fact
think
that she is she going to be a superhero, because her DNA has changed.
yeah. So in the comics, she's a superhero. She has different names. She's being called Captain Marvel at one point, and Photon, and a couple of other things. So she'll become, yeah, probably quite an important character. I think that was
Cool.
setting up either they're doing a Secret Wars TV show, which is a comic book series that was all to do with the Skrulls shape shifting, and I think pretending to be different superheroes.
Mm.
Or Captain Marvel 2. It was setting up one of those two things, I think.
Aha.
And it also links
Interesting.
in with a scene you won't have seen because it's in the post credits of the last Spider-Man movie.
Oh, which I'm gonna watch. Don't worry, I'm
Cool.
gonna watch it.
Um, I was a bit more down on the finale of WandaVision, I think, overall, than you were.
Why?
I didn't find it very emotional because A, you've got the two Visions, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Vision she's made and the original Vision, who's the White
Yeah.
Vision. The White Vision seems to get convinced and remember who he is and becomes
Mm.
the original Vision again, but then just flies out of the TV show so that she can have this big emotional goodbye with the Vision that she's made.
Mm.
But it didn't ring true to me because I was just like, but the Vision is still exists. What's happened to that one? Like, isn't that still going to be in love with Wanda as well? And she'll love that Vision just as much as. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was a bit like, I don't quite understand that. And then I sort of knew that her children are really important characters and that the chances of them actually never being in it again are pretty much zero. So when there's that big emotional goodbye to them, I was a bit like, well, they're just going to bring them back at some point. So it doesn't really matter. That's how I sort of read it, if you see what I mean.
Okay, but think about it. Like, it wasn't. It's not a goodbye. It's a see you later.
Yeah, yeah,
But have
yeah,
you
yeah,
ever had
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
moment where you're not going to see your family for a while and you say goodbye to them and you're actually sad because you're not going to spend more time with them?
Yeah, sure. But
And and the
also,
person that you've created, like, I don't know, I felt like it was genuine, like, amazing acting from Wanda and Vision,
oh yeah, no, good acting. And
because I
wrapping
was
up
like,
her
yeah,
story was good.
and I thought it was really lovely. And the fact that, yeah, she's not going to see them, but she's not going to see them for a while, and that's still sad, isn't it?
Maybe, but why isn't she going to see the White Vision for a while? Like his story just wasn't. He just flew out of the show. He just flew right out of the episode. It didn't make much sense to me. I wasn't. It wasn't clear why. What he just kind of goes, "I am the Vision," and then he just disappears from the show. They didn't make it clear like what he went off to do, why he was leaving. But the bigger issues for me were like I didn't like Evan Peters being ending up being nothing. The guy who was playing Pietro or Quicksilver. um, Casting the guy from the Fox movies as that in that role, and then having it seemingly be that he was just a resident of Westview without any link to X Men, felt like a bit of a sort of
But you
a
don't know that.
well, currently that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, currently, but
Oh, God.
you have. I was excited because you told me there's so many things that are gonna come from this. Then maybe something is gonna come from this. Like, for
Maybe in the future,
example,
but I can only
yeah.
judge. I can only judge that episode of WandaVision on what they've shown us so far, and what they've shown us so far, they seem to confirm that he was just Ralph Boner, just some person who lived in Westview. In the future, if they link it back in with X Men, that'd be interesting, cool. But if that's all we're ever going to get from Evan Peters, and they just had him in there just to do a bit of a twist for the fans, that kind of irritates me. I wasn't really into that very much, and I didn't. I felt like this. I really liked the season overall. I was a big fan of WandaVision overall, but I much preferred the early episodes where it was really strange and in the sitcom world, you didn't quite know what was going on. And as it became more and more an MCU thing and less a weird sort of Twin Peaksy, strange, surreal world thing, it just got a bit blander and less interesting for me. So I liked WandaVision overall. I really, really liked it and had a good time with it. But the finale for me was a bit too by the numbers and not. I was expecting kind of more interesting stuff to happen.
Mm.
Was my take on it.
No, I liked it. I thought it was good because also I feel like the witch, Wanda said that she's going to visit the witch again. So I wonder if both of them being in Westview, her brother and the witch,
Mm.
might be something.
Yeah, but yeah. Hopefully in the future, I'd like them to go back to it and do more stuff with those characters.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, I don't know, it just felt rushed to me. There were loads of hanging story threads that they could have wrapped up. And I really didn't like the episode before it, where it was full of flashbacks. And I felt like I'd have rather them not have done that episode and spent more time with the finale.
Aw.
And yeah, setting that up.
Well, I guess the finale could have been longer. I think they could have done 10 episodes.
Yeah, I'd
I
agree
think
with
the
that.
finale could have been 2 episodes, or like you said, like a longer episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was left very emotional by it. I don't know why. It's just because,
No, I've seen loads of people saying they found it really emotional. I know that I'm the
yeah,
outlier. I just didn't.
yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So what else did you do this week?
Not much. I watched WandaVision, which I thought was really good. And also I wanted to talk about the Blackpink documentary, but I already spoke about it with you. So I think that's something that you should watch.
Cool, I will.
Yeah. I read The Testament by Margaret Atwood.
Okay.
Yeah, Fanny read that, and this is the book after the. It's really
The
bad
Handmaid's
because
Tale.
like the Handmaid's Tale, because the Korean film is called The Handmaiden, and
Yeah,
I always get them confused. But yeah, it's the book after The Handmaid's Tale.
yeah.
The Handmaid's Tale was written in 1985,
Mm.
and this uh, came out 2 years ago in 2019. So it took quite a
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
for it to finish. And so this is this part of the book is the story of the fall of Gilead.
Okay.
So the first one is about Gilead and about the handmaids, who they are, which were just like baby machines for this place called Gilead, and in a place where there are in a very strict place. Actually, Gilead is a place where you have to pray, and well, you can pray anyway.
Well, it's like America's been taken over by a fundamentalist Christian terrorist
Yeah,
organization, essentially.
yeah, exactly. And so, and that was really interesting, and it ended with one of the handmaids. Like, really, I want to say the handmaidens, but
No,
one of the
I know, I
handmaid.
have the same
It's
thing.
so hard. One of the handmaids fleeing Gilead and going into Canada. And this one is about it. It's got three different narrators,
Yeah.
and one of them is Aunt Lydia, which is one of the um, well, she's one of the bad guys uh, in The Handmaid's Tale,
Yeah.
and but in this one, you kind of understand more her story and who she was before Gilead was founded and how she got to the top. And then
Mm.
one of them is a girl born in Gilead. And that finds out that her mother is not her mother, but it was a handmaid. And the third one is a girl in Canada, which who not which who realizes that her mum used to be a handmaid. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think it was a good continuation. I don't think it's as good as The Handmaid's Tale. I think it's The Handmaid's Tale has got, I like is one of my favorite books, and so
Mm.
I had kind of high expectations of this. But I really enjoyed it. It's interesting that the narrator's chapters are quite long,
Yeah.
and then they become shorter and shorter and shorter the more the book goes on. So I
Okay.
like that what she did, and the ending is interesting because it's kind of an account of what happened, but after, because Gilead has fallen,
Mm.
and it's an account of people reading about Gilead. And I thought
Okay.
that was interesting. So yeah, it's a good book, and 35 years later, she managed to finish this saga, and
That's cool.
at the end of the book, she also, which was really nice, she says thank you for pushing me to do this book to her readers, and I'm amazed about the amazing series that Hulu made. So she was like praising the series, which
The
I still
series
need
is
to
great.
watch. Yeah, I still need to watch it. But
It's really
it
good.
was I thought it was really good.
It
I
must
enjoyed
be
it.
true that the series must have partly pushed her to do the book finally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, yeah.
Even though they're
Oh,
not, the book is very disconnected from the series, I think. That the second one.
yeah. Mm. Well, when I finished The Handmaid's Tale, I didn't expect a sequel, because it was just like that's what happens, and that's. But I think people wanted more, and it's
Mm.
of course, and I think you could make another one. Like you could make, like she could write another book, like a prequel of Gilead. because that would
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
fascinating to know exactly. Because in The Handmaid's Tale, things happen very quickly, but without people noticing.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my goodness! But it'd be interesting to know where this comes from. So if I think she ever wrote another book, she should write a prequel, because
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah,
The series does episodes where it flashes back to it happening, but you never
mm,
really get a full picture of how it went down exactly.
mm,
But
yeah,
some of the best episodes of the series are where they spend quite a bit of time going into how different characters reacted to Gilead taking over.
yeah, because
Such a good series.
what I liked about the book was the fact that it kind of told you in kind of in the reality of when things happen, because you don't really things don't happen like that, like usually in films, like, oh, this is what happens, the war is gone. It's all
Mm.
very gradual, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's what I liked about the first book, the fact that it's so, it could be just related to normal everyday life, how things change in a gradual way, and suddenly you're in it without
Mm.
having realized you're in it. But yeah, she writes amazingly well, and it's really, for me, easy to read her, because she's just like, I don't know, I like how she writes. So if you have a few hours to spare, I think it's a good book to read, The Testament.
Any other culture catch up?
No, I'm done.
Shall we go to homework?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Sit down at the back and be quiet and get out your book because it's time to discuss your homework. Now.
So this last week was our episode on YouTube music videos or music performances. I really enjoyed that episode, by the way, Alex. I hope it comes out well. But I thought
Yeah.
that was a really fun one. Sister Act was my homework because it was a free homework. That was the point I was getting to.
Yeah.
I had to watch the Disney movie Sister Act. It is a 1992 film musical comedy. Hang on. Yeah, 1992 movie starring Whoopi Goldberg. At, I guess, the height of Whoopi Goldberg's popularity, right? Like yeah, she's amazing. The poster
She's
for Sister
amazing.
Act just says Whoopi in massive letters at the top. Like
Yeah.
she must have been huge in the early 90s. For good reason.
She was in loads
Yeah.
of things in the early 90s.
Doesn't have any eyebrows. Have you ever
What?
noticed that? Look up a
No.
photo. Look up a photo right now of Whoopi Goldberg.
What, like in the 90s or
No,
now?
at any point in time. Just about.
No. Are you crazy? Really?
Yeah,
Is there a reason for not having eyebrows?
there is. Do you want to know it?
Oh my goodness. She hasn't.
Yeah, you've never noticed
She
it, have you?
hasn't. I've never noticed she didn't have any eyebrows.
Do you know why?
No.
Because
Yes. Oh my god. I think I know. Okay, let me guess. Is it not something about she burned them off whilst cooking, or her grandma was cooking?
No, that's not what I've heard. She,
Okay.
in her own words, in an interview, she said it was because she doesn't like facial hair.
Oh, well then no.
Most of us wouldn't consider eyebrows to be facial hair, though, Alex. To be fair,
No, absolutely not.
but she doesn't like. She said she doesn't like facial hair, so she shaved them off, and then the process of them regrowing was really itchy and uncomfortable. So she's just shaved them off ever since and kept them shaved. So yeah, which is totally fine. I'm not judging her for it at all. I would think you would end up with rain and sweat and other things getting in your eyes if you didn't have your eyebrows. But apparently she's happy with it. So good for her.
Like literally,
It
I have
suits her.
never seen the fact that she hasn't got any eyebrows. Like I'm looking at photos of her now, and I'm so shocked.
Yeah,
Shooketh.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, this film, Sister Act, stars Whoopi Goldberg as a lounge singer called Dolores Van Cartier,
Yeah.
who is the moll to a gangster played by Harvey Keitel.
Mm-hmm.
Early on in the movie, she sees him have someone murdered. She somehow didn't realize he was a gangster, which is incredible. But she had no idea he was a
Mm.
gangster, so she runs off and tells the police. They need her to testify at a trial, so they put her into witness protection and hide her in a convent in San Francisco. Um, there's no real good reason ever given as to why they decide to do a convent in San Francisco, but it's absolutely fine. It doesn't really matter. It's
It
that kind
doesn't
of
matter.
movie.
It just
Um,
doesn't matter.
yeah. So she goes to stay in this convent. The Mother Superior is played by the always perfect Maggie Smith, who is perfect in
Yeah.
this movie. Um, and it's your classic culture clash comedy, as the sort of worldly lounge singer tries to fit in amongst the kind of a bit more reserved nuns of the convent.
Mm.
And it all comes to a head when they make her join the choir. She realizes the choir is terrible, so she decides to make them better. And in an amazing scene, she makes the choir better in about 45 seconds, which is brilliant. um, and yeah, and so I mean, yeah. Okay. It also stars Bill Nunn, who is in Do the Right Thing that I talked about a few weeks ago. He plays the policeman who hides her. He's really good in it. There's sort of there's a whole series of actresses in it as nuns, but the kind of two main ones after Maggie Smith would be Kathy Najimy, who plays Sister Mary Patrick. She is from Hocus Pocus. That's what I know her from,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's great in the movie. And Wendy McKenna plays Sister Mary Robert, who's like a
Mm-hmm.
nun in training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's I watched it again. I watched it before I watched The Girl Next Door the other night, just after I got this news that annoyed me, and it was exactly what I needed to take my mind off it, because it was just such a good, fun early '90s comedy. I loved it. I really, really liked it. It was great. Um, I don't know what else to say.
It's just fun, isn't it? It's
It's
just a
just
fun
really fun. Whoopi Goldberg is
comedy.
so
Yeah.
good in it. She's so
Yeah.
charismatic. The music. My only
Yeah.
criticism would be there's probably only what 2 or 3 kind of proper musical sequences of the nuns
Mm.
singing really well, and I'd have loved more of that, because that was each of the
Yeah.
songs they sing in mass are great,
Yeah.
really, really good. So if anything, I just would like more of that. But I haven't watched Sister Act 2 yet, so I'm assuming I will get more of that in Sister Act 2.
No.
Oh, what? No more
No.
songs? What are you talking
No,
about?
there are songs, but not as the much as you want. You always want more with Sister Act 1 and Sister Act 2.
Fair enough.
But no, yeah, that's all. It's Sister Act is a great film that has to be watched. Feel good. And now that it's on Disney Plus, I'm gonna watch it again and
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Maggie Smith is really good in it. It's very funny the way that she like the film has to have tension, I suppose. There has to be somebody
Mm.
opposed to Whoopi Goldberg making the choir better. But there's
Yeah.
no Maggie Smith. There's no reason for her to at any point not like what Whoopi Goldberg's doing to the choir. She's just making them better singers. It's really funny the way that Maggie Smith will be like, "Oh no, this is blasphemy. How is it blasphemy? What are you talking about? It's just
Well, if you're an old school nun, that's pretty blasphemous what they're doing. It's a bit like
maybe just
Rocky,
to
isn't it?
sing. Oh, it's very silly that she. And also, I mean, it's fine that it's silly. I'm not saying silly in a negative way, because it's that kind of movie. But the first time they sing properly in church, and you see loads of people outside hear the music and be like, "Oh, I think I better go to church." That's really funny. Suddenly the
Yeah.
church is full of people. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. Kathy Najimy is really good. Wendy McKenna is really good as the sort of 2 other nuns that she hangs out with. There's a scene where they go to a bar and dance. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you made me watch it finally, because I thought it was really good, and I'm definitely going to watch Sister Act 2 quite soon, and I'll report back on that. I was reading online that Sister Act 2 is generally considered to be quite a lot worse than the first one, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
And they're making Sister Act 3 on Disney Plus.
With Whoopi,
Whoopi's making it. Yep.
is Whoopi in it?
Yeah, you can't have Sister Act without Whoopi, can you?
Are you this is like the best news today. Like the best news.
Yeah, I think as recently as like November last year, she told, I think, James
Yeah.
Corden or somebody on a chat show that she was deep into kind of getting Sister Act 3 made. So that seems like it's been confirmed to be a Disney Plus movie, I think. So that'll
Oh,
happen.
yes,
That'll come.
please.
I think probably they're going to bring back all the surviving nuns. So Maggie Smith hopefully will be there. Hopefully Kathy Najimy, and yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Amazing. It'll be
Amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Yes. So so for my free homework, you made me watch the Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
And it's about this orphaned girl that she's basically a prodigy. Well, you find out that she's a prodigy. She gets obsessed with chess and she becomes really, really good. And that's it.
Sure.
So I watched 3 episodes.
Okay.
Of it, and I didn't realize it was set in the 1960s. I had no idea, so I was really surprised about that. Well, I'm obsessed with the show.
Are you?
It's amazing.
Oh, right.
Like, incredible.
I
know
told
I've
you.
only watched 3 episodes. I know I've only watched 3 episodes, but this week I've been had really like, there was too much stuff happening, and I every time I had a free moment, I watched an episode.
Yeah.
And I'm mesmerized. Well, it stars Anya Taylor-Joy, and I'm mesmerized by her. Like, what is her face about?
She's
amazing.
Have you seen her in anything before?
I don't think so. Like, I thought I had. But I don't know. Maybe it's her short hair. Maybe it's how she does things, and so I love the fact that there's no. And wait a second. What? I'm just checking where she was. Vampire Academy, The Witch. So she was in The Witch. That's why I know about her, because you talked about The Witch.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen her. She was in Emma, the 2020 Emma.
Yes, I kind of want to watch that, but because she's in it.
Yeah. I haven't really seen her in anything, but so what I've enjoyed about like the first episode, I was like, what? It's the fact that like things happen, nothing is asked, nothing is answered. It's just a natural occurring of things. She sees a chessboard, she falls in love with it. That's it. That's it. There's no backstory. Yeah, she's drawn to the chessboard, and it just the tranquilizers are fascinating, and how her facial expression never really changes, but she's suffering. Like when example when they stopped giving them tranquilizers and she goes in withdrawal, and there's something. Even the little kid was an amazing actress. I was like, what?
Yeah, the little kid was really good.
I don't know if there is the directions or I just thought, and when she goes in the in the pharmacy and just grabs all those that scene, I was like, she's gonna die. This kid is gonna die.
Oh, is that where they come out of the cinema room and she's standing on that chair with
and she just basically just eaten a handful full of and like everybody, you assume that everybody's going to be a little bit evil, but they turn out okay.
Yeah, broadly.
Yeah, because at least until the 3rd episode, I can't wait to watch more.
What happens up to the 3rd episode? Where have you seen up to?
So she has grown up, she's been adopted, and now she has gone to the last episode I watched, she lost against the cowboy kid.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And she was like, she was very mad about it. And from moment 1, when it starts and there's somebody knocking at the door, the first few scenes, and she gets dressed and she's taking a pill and she downs some vodka, and then she goes and you go, what's happening? And then suddenly she goes in front of this guy. It's like, I'm sorry. And she's late.
Yeah.
I was hooked.
Yeah, exactly.
I was totally hooked.
It's such a great way to start. And when the series catches up to that moment, it's really good to see like
and I was
the
like,
rest of
I
that
want to
scene
know what's
play
happening. and it's like, is it going to go backwards? If it goes backwards, it's going to be perfect. I went backwards. Like, yes. I was so excited. And no, I really enjoy it. I think it's really, really good. I love her. Anya Taylor-Joy is amazing. But
She
I
is.
also like how everybody is not nice, but nice at the same time. Like I said before, the the principal of the orphanage, she she was just strict, but she's not just a nice person
Yeah, she
that runs
wasn't.
an orphanage, but
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
just
yeah.
a strict person. Like she's not a bad person.
I love
And
the
like her
janitor,
mother,
the caretaker of the orphanage that she plays
the
chess with.
janitor's my favorite because he's all like, bruh. And then when she touches his shoulder, and when
Oh,
she leaves, I was actually sad
yeah.
for
Yeah,
him.
of course you
But
were.
then yeah. And then every time, like the pharmacist guy, I don't know, I was thinking about Nurse Ratched. Oh, he's gonna turn, but he never turned.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
okay. And then yeah, no, I think it's really good. And I think and the mother, the
The adopted mother.
her adopted mother,
Mm.
like she's like, oh, she's gonna do something bad, and then she doesn't, because I thought she was gonna steal her money,
Yeah.
and she just asked for 10%, and Beth said, "No, I'm gonna give you 15%,"
Yeah.
and and you think that she's bad because she doesn't buy her new clothes, but she doesn't buy her new clothes because she hasn't got the money. You
Yeah.
assume that she has the money, but she hasn't got the money, and it genuinely feels like there's some kind of nice friendship between them, like a loving friendship.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm excited, and I'll finish it by next week, and I can talk about the rest next week. But I'm
Good.
so glad you told me to watch it, because I was never going to watch it. I know it is. I think my sister
Yeah.
recommended it.
Okay.
No,
Oh, I don't know. Yeah?
did
When?
somebody recommend it on? Well, it doesn't matter.
I don't think, because Elite, you mean when they sent in a list?
Yeah.
Because they did top 5 British shows as a list. So I don't think that they did. I recommended it to you.
Maybe.
I've mentioned it, how much I liked it.
Okay, but yeah.
Maybe your sister did. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's why I said it as the free homework choice, because I didn't know you'd definitely like it, but I really wanted you to try it, and I knew that you just wouldn't, because it's not something you'd think to watch.
No, not at all. But then I remember that I used to play chess when I was little with my sister.
Yeah.
And like they do certain moves, like when you move to like protect your queen.
Yeah.
No, your king.
Mm.
Which one is the most important? The king. To protect your king.
No, isn't the queen the
You-
most?
you-
Oh, I don't know. No, the
Yeah,
king's the
it's-
most important. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. To protect your king, you can like have your 3 little pawns at the front, and then you can do a move where you can just swap the tower with the king.
Yeah.
And so you protect the king in a corner.
Mm.
And when she did that, I was like, I know that move. That's the only move I know. But yeah, it's like, oh, that's cool. Because it's like you move 2 pawns at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, two, and usually you can't. But with that move, you can move 2. And she did it. It's like, oh, you're trying to save your king. Well done. No, I like it, and I'm obsessed with her. I love her face. Her face is amazing. But one thing I disagree with you from last week.
Oh.
You said that the only downfall she has is her addiction.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the only downfall she has. She's really socially awkward and quite rude. Just because she doesn't, that because of her, but she's like when she goes and she doesn't really like, she doesn't, I don't know, I don't think it's just her addiction. I think she's like actually quite bad with interaction with people that she doesn't know.
She's not, but I know why you'd think that up to where you've seen.
Ah, okay. Well, because then she gets better. I don't know, maybe. But until now, I feel like she's a bit awkward.
Fair enough.
But
I
yeah, I liked
think you
it.
might revise that opinion once you've watched the rest of it, but well, I'll wait and see what you
Okay.
think next week.
Okay, 4 more episodes to go. Woohoo!
Yes, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our top 5.
So we're doing our top 5 this week. Is a bit different. It's top 5 examples of food on screen.
I feel like before we start, I was really hard not to just put Asian, mainly Japanese films in my list because I feel like they present food so well.
Interesting.
And if
I
you
don't
talk
have
about Korean,
any examples of Asian cuisine in my list, so I think our lists are going to be a bit different.
okay, because in my opinion, like of films I've watched, Korean, Chinese, and Japanese films I've seen, the food is so important and is always portrayed in an incredible way. And food is about family, food is about interaction, and yeah, so it was really hard to just don't go fully Asian, Alex.
Fair enough. I'm going to predict that we're going to have one thing in common on our lists.
I predict not, but let's see.
Interesting. I'll be surprised if you've left off the thing I think that you'll have on your list, but we'll see. Okay. I'll start.
Start, please.
My number 5 is Harley Quinn's perfect hangover cure, the fried egg sandwich in Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie.
Amazing.
Yeah. Have you seen that film?
I have not seen the film, but I
Okay.
have seen the perfect egg sandwich on a YouTube video.
Oh, really? Okay. It's good.
Yeah.
So there's a scene early on where Harley Quinn has a bit of a blowout of a night in a nightclub. And
Yeah.
the next day she goes to this, I think it's called Sal's little shop or something. And she describes while he's making it this perfect egg sandwich that's going to solve all her problems. And it shows him buttering the bread and frying it a little bit and cooking up the egg and popping some cheese on it and a bit of hot sauce and just delivering it to her. And the look of pure joy on Margot Robbie's face when she gets this sandwich is so good. And then it's a true tragedy when the sandwich is destroyed and she's unable to eat it. And it's just it's a really good scene of food in a movie. I think it's really, really good, really funny, and I love a good egg sandwich. And it just it's perfect. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my number 5 is Harley Quinn's egg sandwich.
I'm watching it again now while you speak. Buttering the bread. She looks in love. Yeah, I don't know. It came into my YouTube feed the other day, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, it's so good. It's wonderful. And I just love. Do you like an egg sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a good egg sandwich? Oh,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the way the yolk. If you've got it
Yeah.
perfectly, the yolk breaks and the bread absorbs some of the yolk, and it's just gorgeous, wonderful thing. Egg and cheese. So yeah, and as a hangover cure, there's not much that can beat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
it.
What's your number 5?
Very good choice, G.
Thank you.
Okay, so my number 5 is a film with Jon Favreau, directed by Jon Favreau, and it's 2014 Chef. I don't really have a specific food from this film. I quite like when he cooks the grilled cheese.
Yeah.
I think it gives a lot of a lot of love just for a grilled cheese that you think could be anything, but you could just make it really simply. But he doesn't, and his kitchen is amazing in the film. Like I love the fact that he's got a hot plate and he cooks his grilled cheese on the hot plate, and the way he does it and the ingredients he put it and the passion he puts just in this grilled cheese is amazing.
And isn't it over the end credits it shows you the actual chef that consulted making the grilled cheese with him? Yeah.
And that's what I like about it, because he actually got somebody to actually make things really accurately and tasty and teaching him things. So it's kind of really genuine, and I love it. And the food in general in the film is amazing, and the passion for the food. Although he's not a real chef, he got a real chef to show him how to do things, and just like for me, I didn't think I was gonna like this film, but I really enjoyed the.
Why did you not think you were gonna like it?
Because it's just like you just think it's just gonna be like a film about somebody cooking. I don't know. Like I don't know. There's something about it. I just didn't think I was going to enjoy it. Maybe it was going to be a little bit yeah, we want to open a food truck and that's it. I don't know, just I didn't think it was going to be so passionate about the food. And I love when films are really passionate about food and show like the mastery of cooking, even if it's something really simple, and the passion that he has for the food, and how angry he is when somebody goes against him because,
Yeah.
he's a
Well,
chef, and
yeah,
chefs are angry people.
that's true.
And yeah, they are. But I don't know. I didn't. Well, maybe I didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much. But I just love uh everything about it. And yeah, grilled cheese sandwich in Chef is pretty amazing. The Cubanos look pretty good as well.
What about the scene where he
Yeah.
makes Scarlett Johansson that sexy pasta?
Yeah. Ah, yeah, the sexy pasta. I forgot about the sexy pasta.
Oh, never forget about
Yeah.
that.
About the sexy pasta.
Cool. That's awesome. Chef is a great movie, and I love the way that they shoot food in that film. It's good stuff. Okay, my number 4 is from the classic American crime drama on I think it was a HBO show, The Sopranos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is a great show for food, but in particular, I've always enjoyed what I think they call the gabagool in The Sopranos.
The gabagool.
The
What's
gabagool.
that?
What is that? It's called something different in Italy. It's like an Italian Americanism, I think. Let me look it up. Uh, Capicola,
Ah, capocollo. Yeah,
Capicola.
capocollo.
Um, has become over time, that word has become in America turned into the word gabagool for some reason. So in The Sopranos, they always talk about the gabagool, and it's just cured meat, right?
Yeah, because in Italian you would say capocollo, and
Yeah.
then in then depending on your accent you would say capocol, and then it goes to America and becomes gabagool.
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 So there's loads of scenes in The Sopranos, and they're always my favourite scenes of Tony just at home wearing either a dressing gown or a big tracksuit, an all-in-one tracksuit, and he'll just go into his fridge and pull out a big tray of cold meats and just start eating them. And I was always like, I want to live in a massive house and just have a fridge full of cured meat that I can just eat
Yeah.
whatever I want. And whenever I visited you in Italy, the highlight of the trip has always been eating huge platters of the gabagool.
The gabagool.
The gabagool. And it also created an iconic moment in another TV show at the American Office where Michael Scott is trying to impress an Italian American client, and they go to an Italian restaurant for lunch, and he just says, "I'll have the gabagool," and the waitress is like, "What's that, sir?" The gabag, and he just starts screaming gabagool at her, and it's very funny. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that style of Italian cuisine, and the gabagool in The Sopranos always looks incredibly delicious and wonderful. So I haven't even watched The Sopranos in years. It's like the main thing I remember from it is the meat that Tony would eat. So yeah, that's my thing. So there you go.
The gabagool. Awesome.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is is from the 1991. I can't even say it anymore. My number 4 is from 1991's film directed by Steven Spielberg, Hook. And the food is when it's the feast they have in Never Never Land, when they have to use their imagination and there's nothing there. They just had a fight. Rufio. Is his name Rufio? No. Rufio. Yeah, when Rufio and Peter Pan just had an argument, who was the coolest, because Peter Pan is old now, but they start this feast, and all the children around the table start getting all this food on their plates, and then they're like, "Oh, you can't see it, but use your imagination." And then there's nothing there, and then suddenly the most colorful, creamiest, steamiest food comes out, and it's beautiful. It's just like I've always wanted to eat that, and I still would love to just put my face in some of that food because it just looks deliciously wrong and amazing.
It looks like
and
delicious
gorgeous.
plasticine or Play-Doh or something.
Yeah, but just like it's just going to be really delicious. And yeah, I just love that scene, and I love that food scene. It's so good. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hook is an underrated movie in my opinion. I really liked Hook when I was growing up.
I love Hook.
Yeah, yeah,
Why is
yeah.
it underrated?
Because loads of people think it's terrible, mainly.
Oh, you what? You just told me the worst thing in the world.
It's not remembered as a classic Steven Spielberg film. It's remembered as one of his misfires.
No, that's you just have to like don't say that ever again.
Okay.
Not in this podcast.
I mean, I'm not saying
It's
my
a-
opinion. I like it. Dustin Hoffman is Hook. Bob Hoskins is Smee. Robin Williams, obviously, is Peter Pan. Maggie
Yeah.
Smith is in there, right? Maggie Smith's in it, isn't she? As the original Mary. She runs the orphanage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, not Mary, Wendy. Sorry.
Wendy. Julia Roberts is the little elf
Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just love that film, and I just
Yeah.
I don't know. I have
B-O.
and that love food scene is the best scene.
Yeah, because it looks so. I mean, it does just look like plasticine or whatever, but it looks delicious. Like the way the way it appears on the plates, and then they start throwing at each other. It's such a good scene. It's great. No, it's a good choice. I suspected you were going to put that on, so I'm glad you did.
Why?
Because you've talked before about how much you like it. To me,
Yeah, I love that film.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's your number 4.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is nice and simply. It's a classic. You'll know this. It's milk steak boiled over hard with a side of jelly beans. It's it's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's you never actually see it physically on screen, so it's a bit of a cheat in a way. But there's a character called Charlie in Always Sunny in Philadelphia who is kind of that TV show's wild card, strange character. And there's an amazing episode where they're trying to help him make an online dating profile. And he, like, when they ask him what his likes are, he says ghouls, and they're like, "What do you mean ghouls?" And he's like, ghouls, little ghouls, they run around and stuff like that. It's so strange. And when they ask him what to put under favorite food, he describes his favorite meal as milk steak, boiled over hard with a side of jelly beans, which obviously is nonsensical, but it's just such a. I love I think that if you're trying to come up with a non-existent weird dish, I think that description of a meal is so weirdly evocative. It just makes me laugh so much. Like, and a side of jelly beans boiled. Like, what does boiled over hard mean? That doesn't mean anything, does it?
But boiled over hard what?
I don't know. Boiled over milk steak. So milk steak is, and there's a YouTube channel called Binging with Babish that I used to research today's episode, and I think there's an episode where he tries to make milk steak by boiling steak in milk, and obviously it's disgusting. And there's another episode where he goes on a date, I think, or he goes to a restaurant, and he says something like, "Oh, I'll have the milk steak," but yeah, I don't know. It makes me laugh so much.
It sounds disgusting.
It does sound disgusting. But for me, when I think about film in like TV, when I think about food on screen and stuff like that, even though you never actually see it, one of the first things that always comes to my mind is Charlie's favorite dish. So that's my number 3 pick: milk steak boiled over hard with a side of jelly beans. Try it.
Boiled over hard? Like, what does that mean? Like, you're gonna boil the steak in milk?
Yeah,
That sounds disgusting.
it does.
Wow. Cool, man.
Cool.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
My number 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
my
yeah.
number 3 was really hard because I knew I wanted to put this director in because I know if you've been listening to us for a while, you know I'm obsessed with this director.
Mhm.
One of the directors I'm obsessed with, and I love how he portrays food on camera. And the director is Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
I just love how he does food. I love uh how he does really, I don't know, everything is about food is really thought of and clever.
Mm.
But which film would I choose? I don't know. So I chose Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
And when she has the milkshake, the
Ooh.
$5 milkshake.
Yeah.
I love that moment. So she orders this milk. So they go in this incredible diner, and they forgot her name. Their names. What are their names?
Well, Uma Thurman and John Travolta are the actors. I don't.
Oh yeah, I could just say Human. Yeah, Human Thurman and John Travolta go to this diner, which is an incredible diner. It's like old. It's got
Is it called Jack Rabbit Slims? Am I remembering that right?
yeah, something like that.
It's Jack Rabbit Slims.
Da-da-da. Yeah, and they go in here, and it's like the tables are cars, vintage cars, and the waiters are old movie stars, and they order their burgers. And even how they order their burgers, like it's, I don't know, it's just amazing how I just always found diners fascinating. And in Pulp
burger-
Fiction, it's like diner.
Is it called a Big Kahuna burger?
No, the Big Kahuna Burger is when Samuel L. Jackson eats this burger when he says his famous words in the guy's apartment.
Right.
That's the
Okay.
Big Kahuna
Right.
Burger.
Okay.
And that's the thing I had to choose between. Like, I personally think that Pulp Fiction is an incredible film about loads of different foods. For example, when Tim Roth is in the diner and they're having breakfast in the diner,
Yeah.
then after they kill that guy in the car, John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson go and have breakfast in the diner. And I don't know, it's just, for me, it's just like
And there's that whole conversation
everything.
about how McDonald's in Europe is different to McDonald's in America.
Yeah,
A Royale
and then
with
about the
cheese.
pie,
Yeah.
that she wants a piece of pie. It's just, for me, that film is all about food. But so I knew I wanted to put Pulp Fiction, and I had to choose a scene. But I love the moment where they're in this diner, and there's the burger coming, and she tries the milkshake, and she just snorted a line of cocaine, and then she comes, and she just has this gulp of $5 milkshake, and she makes it look like the best milkshake ever. And I've always wanted to drink that milkshake because it's just like something has, I don't know. And she has the milkshake has this cherry that she plays with. I just love that scene, but I love the milkshake, the $5 milkshake. Because John Travolta is like, what do they put the $5 milkshake? Because it's expensive.
It's funny because
And I
now
think
that's like how much a milkshake would cost in 2021.
Yeah, that's like that's a milkshake. But I just and they eat these burgers, and how they eat them, it's amazing. And she doesn't even finish her burger because she's high and stuff. But oh, it's just a beautiful. But that film as food, yes, and coffee, food and coffee. Like, I just, every time I see that film, I watch that film, I want to drink a cup of coffee and have some kind of diner food. Yeah.
Fair.
And that's, so Uma Thurman's $5 milkshake.
I like it, Alex. It's a good choice.
Also, sorry, it's the first time that I saw somebody ordering a rare burger, because like in Europe you don't, well, at least in Italy they don't sell you rare burgers because it's bad. Like, you can't have a rare burger.
You shouldn't really
good.
cook
Like,
minced beef in any other way than
rare.
Yeah, you shouldn't cook minced
Well
rare.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But in there, in that film, they have like rare burgers. You go, what? And so as a like European kid, you go, rare. Oh, that's disgusting.
That is a weird one.
In America, in America they have rare burgers,
Bizarre.
which is wrong because it's really bad.
I don't know why, but
Like-
when you said, "Oh, it's also the first time," I thought you were about to say it's the first time that a milkshake has been shown in a film, and I was going to be like, "No, it's not, Alex. What are you talking about?" I don't know why I thought you were going to say.
Don't assume what I want to say, George.
Just in my head, I was like, "Is she about to say that milkshake hasn't been in cinema before?" Anyway, all right, my number 2 then.
Yeah.
My number 2 is from similar to your Quentin Tarantino thing. I mean, we've spoken before about how much I love the TV show Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah,
Of
I knew you were
course.
gonna put it in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the way that David Lynch describes and talks about food and drink in Twin Peaks is iconic in a similar way to how Quentin Tarantino does it. So I had to have Twin Peaks represented in there, and rather than go with something obvious like damn fine coffee or bacon and eggs and stuff, I went for one of my favorite scenes in all of Twin Peaks when Ben and Jerry Horn eat brie and butter baguettes that Jerry has brought back from France. Do you remember that scene? You've seen that, haven't you?
Yeah.
And
he
he
just doesn't eat it
brings
normal.
in these massive baguettes. And this is Ben Horn runs the hotel in Twin Peaks, and Jerry Horn is his brother who's just come back from a business trip to France, and he brings in these huge baguettes that are all they've got on them is butter and brie, which is such a basic filling. And
yeah.
he's waving this baguette around and he's hitting it, and he's like, "This is amazing. You've got to try this, Ben." And he gives one to Ben, and they both start eating it. And they're not eating it like you would eat a baguette. They're eating it like down the middle. And they've got their mouths full of bread and cheese, and they're just continuing the scene and having this conversation with completely full mouths. And it's one of my favorite things ever in anything. I love the brie and butter baguette scene in Twin Peaks, and also butter, good, brie, good, a baguette, good. That is an amazing thing to eat. I would happily have a brie and butter baguette. So
Yeah.
there's my number 2 for
Amazing.
Thanks.
That is amazing. Yeah, I love that scene. It's like, how is he eating that baguette? That's not how you eat a baguette. Cool. So my number 2. My number 2 is my first of my 2 Japanese entries.
Okay.
So my number 2 is from a series called, and I spoke about this before because I watched the film, and the series is called Shinya Shokudo, and the in English Midnight Diner, and all the food is amazing in this. So the series is about every episode has got like a storyline of somebody, and this person has a food associated to them. So for example, like, they want to order something, and the motto of the master, the guy that works in the diner, he says, if I have the ingredients, I'll cook whatever you want. So every episode has got somebody that orders something different.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out which ones made me like kind of like, I don't know. All the food is quite nostalgic because it's quite traditional Japanese food. But there is one recipe that I'd never tried before, and I tried it at home after watching the episode, is hamakatsu, which is, katsu is like usually like the pork cutlet.
Yeah.
That is in breadcrumbs and deep fried.
Yeah.
But this
Well,
one, this is ham katsu if you're a little bit poorer, or if you don't have the ingredients, and you do the same thing. So you bread a piece of ham with like egg.
Oh,
and
I've
then you
had.
cook
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you like you put panko and then you deep fry it, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
After watching that episode, I was like, I need to eat it. And I made it, and it was so good. So it's called ham katsu, and it's amazing. But the entire soul of the series is food, and what food does to people, and because food is amazing, and the memories that an old dish could bring. And there's always potato salad, which that's my go-to food when I go to our favorite bar in Kanazawa, and potato salad is a staple. Japanese potato salad. But yeah, and so it's really really good, and I would it's a good food program.
Yeah.
So every episode's got food.
I was just thinking because you said that katsu is normally like the pork cutlet or fillet, but to Westerners,
Yeah.
katsu now is almost like a synonym for Japanese curry,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like katsu in the UK is always chicken katsu curry,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
interesting because obviously when in Japan often it is or it's katsu is like the breaded pork fillet,
Yeah.
which is delicious. So yeah, good
So
choice.
good.
And I think I've had a ham katsu. I think I've had that in a sandwich. I think that's when I've had that.
Mm. Yeah, maybe.
It's nice.
It is possible. Yeah. But yeah, it's so good.
Mm.
But any time I watch that program, that series, I just get hungry and I just want to go to a bar in Japan and drink beer and eat food.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
What's your number one?
My number one is a nostalgic pick from my childhood. It is the enormous chocolate cake which Bruce Bogtrotter has to eat in the classic Roald Dahl adaptation Matilda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my first honorable mention.
Oh, is it?
Is that the one that you thought we were going to have the same?
Yeah.
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 Oh, it's the best, isn't it?
It is so
Oh,
good. That chocolate
yeah.
cake looks delicious, and it's just an iconic scene, and it's just again it links the food in so well with the theme of the movie because it really is
Mm.
an amazing way of showing what a horrible torturer the Trunchbull is. The way she forces
Yeah.
Bruce Bogtrotter to eat this entire enormous chocolate cake, and the way they film the chocolate cake I think they film it from like beneath to make it look bigger and bigger, and they bring it in on this enormous. They get this tiny lady to bring it in on this enormous platter, and it's also it's such a good thing for a children's book because it feels like when you read it, you're like, oh, getting to eat an entire chocolate cake, that would be lovely. I'd love to eat an entire chocolate cake. But then when you see it, especially in the movie, it just looks awful.
It's so big, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just turns.
Also because the person that carries it is so little.
Yeah, exactly, and it turns what should be a lovely thing into a nightmare, and
Yeah.
in a way, a lot of Matilda is that it's turning what should be a really nice thing, going to school, is meant to be good, into a horror show because of the Trunchbull, and that's partly what inspires Matilda and Miss Honey to fight back against that. And yeah, I love it. The chocolate cake scene in Matilda is a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool beans. What's your number one?
My number one, I'm sorry, it's not Matilda, but my number one, of course, is going to be a Ghibli film. I went to the Ghibli. Well, I'm obsessed with Ghibli, but I went to the Ghibli Museum in Tokyo about 5 times now. And one time I was so lucky that there was the food exhibition, and you could go in the little places, in the little like house. So there was like Totoro's house. And you could there was like the plastic food, because in Japan plastic food is massive, and there was like the food from the film, and there was like food, like the plastic food from the films, and I was just like, I had an out of body experience, because for me Ghibli represents food in the most iconic way possible, but I think anime just does that. So I love it. And but I had to choose from a Ghibli movie, and I think I'm gonna go for the breakfast in Howl's Moving Castle, when they have breakfast, and there's a scene where House is cooking breakfast, and he's breaking the eggs with one hand, and the bacon is cooking in it, and is giving the eggshells to the fire, and it's just a beautiful scene. And then the boy, what's his name? I need to remember his name. Well, yeah, the boy, which I can't remember his name, is just eating it like there's no tomorrow. And how he's eating is incredible because he's famished. yeah, it just I had to choose that one because when I saw it at the exhibition, I was like, oh my god, it's so beautiful, and it's just food is just amazing how it's cut and how it's cooked and the sound is like this weird like ASMR kind of like oh beautiful. It's just a beautiful scene of food and eating.
Nice. Yeah, Ghibli do draw food in a way that makes it look so much more delicious than it ever could be in real life. So yeah, agreed. Good pick. Good pick for number one. I like it. So
Thank you.
I'll run down my list one more
Thank you.
time.
Yeah.
I've got in number 5, I've got the egg sandwich from Birds of Prey. In number 4, I've got the gabagool from The Sopranos. In number 3, milk steak boiled over hard with a side of jelly beans from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Number 2, brie and butter baguettes from Twin Peaks. And number 1, the chocolate cake from Matilda.
Excellent. I'm hungry now.
Yeah,
My top 5, my number 5, grilled cheese from Chef. Number 4, the fantastic, beautiful food feast from Hook. My number 3, the $5 shake in Pulp Fiction from Pulp Fiction. My number 2, ham katsu from Shinya Shokudo, but pretty much all the food on there. And my number 1, the breakfast in Howl's Moving Castle.
Nice. Cool.
Yes.
So I've got a handful of honourable mentions. Starting with the Cubanos sandwiches from Chef, which we've talked a little bit about, but I would love to try one of those sandwiches one day. They look so delicious.
I want, yeah, that's one thing that after watching that film, it's like, I want to go to Miami and I want to eat some Cubanos.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. All of the food in the Lord of the Rings movies always looks delicious.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they're talking about breakfast and then 11s and then second breakfast and all of that stuff is great.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Lord of the Rings is great with food. Or Hook, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
The ramdon in Parasite is an iconic food scene now for me.
Oh,
where she has to
yes.
suddenly make that
Yes.
ramdon with that really cheap, those really cheap noodles combined with the really expensive
Yeah.
steak. Great scene. Speaking of steak, the steak in The Matrix,
Oh, yes.
when he's talking about how he knows it's not real, but it
Yeah.
tastes real to him, and it's what's convincing him he wants to turn on the crew and stuff. That's such an amazing scene with Joe Pantoliano in that movie talking about that steak.
Yeah.
From Captain America: Civil War, when Vision and Scarlet Witch are making chicken paprikash together, and Vision is trying to work out what a pinch of paprika is and stuff. Do you remember that scene?
No, actually, I don't.
Well, it's a great, because it's early on, and it's one of those
Yeah.
great scenes of the Vision and Scarlet Witch bonding, or Wanda bonding, where she's really upset because she's had to go into hiding because of this accident in Lagos. And he's trying to cheer her up by making her favorite dish for her, but he's not really getting it. So she comes in and helps, and it's a good scene. I like the paprikash scene. It's good. Harry Potter, again, similar to Lord of the Rings, just all the food and drink in Harry Potter always looks amazing, particularly butterbeer. The pasta from Chef, which we talked about. The Los Polos Hermanos chicken in Breaking Bad, yes please.
Yeah.
And also Breaking Bad's
awesome.
obsession with breakfast food is wonderful. Have you ever watched Schitt's Creek?
No, you keep saying I should, and I will.
I like it, but there's a great scene where the son and the mother are trying to make dinner together, and they're going through this recipe, and they're making enchiladas, and she's reading out the instructions to him, and she says, "Right now, fold the cheese into the mixture," and he's just like, "Fold the cheese into the mixture. What does that mean?" She's like, "Fold the cheese into the mixture. Fold the cheese," and he's like, "What do you mean? Fold it over like a piece of paper and put it in? What do you mean?" She's just like, "I can't tell you everything." He's like, "Well, tell me one thing. Tell me this one thing. What does that mean?" And neither of them are able to just cook a simple meal together. It's so funny. The chocolate bananas from the banana stand in Arrested Development. Mark's Moroccan pasta in Peep Show, which is just pasta with baked beans and lettuce because he's not got any food.
That sounds gross.
And somebody tells him somebody's like, this isn't Moroccan pasta. It's just pasta with lettuce and beans. And he says, "I don't want to call you a racist at my own dinner party, but I think you'll find there's a bit more to it than that." There's not. That's all it is. It's so good. Rachel's trifle in Friends.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The layer of
Yes.
bolognese that Joey thinks is good. And
Yeah.
then again, another one where it's just a general recommendation for the whole thing is Bob's Burgers.
Oh yeah, Bob's Burgers. Yeah.
Bob's passion for his burgers in that show is wonderful. So there you go. There's my honorable mentions.
Yeah. Good honorable mentions.
Cheers.
My honorable mentions, there's the cake in Matilda, the chocolate cake. You talked about it. That's the best scene and the best, like, you just want to eat that chocolate cake. You just want to put your
Yes,
face in
please.
it.
Yes,
Without even
please.
like no hands, just face. All the face in it. And then the strudel from Inglorious Bastards. When they eat the apple strudel, it just looks amazing and delicious. It's like a frightening scene, but that strudel looks incredible. All the desserts in Marie Antoinette,
Okay.
the film, it's just beautiful. I'm not even that into the dessert, but it's pretty good. The fish sandwich, the little fish sandwich in Our Little Sister. You know, when they have I want to go there and eat it. And then this series is called Salaryman Kantaro, which is a Japanese series and is about this man that loves eating desserts. And my favorite were these chocolate eclairs, because he's like literally in heaven eating these chocolate eclairs. And after watching the series, I went to Tokyo and I found the cafe and I went to eat the chocolate eclairs that he ate, and they were incredible. So I've got like, because it goes to actual cafes, like it's a series,
I think
but he
I've
actually
seen. I
goes
think
to
you've
real
shown me a bit
places.
of it before. I've seen it.
Yeah, and I felt I'd never had such a good chocolate eclair. Oh, it was beautiful, incredible. And then in the pies in Waitress, all of the pies. Have you ever seen the film Waitress?
No, I've not. I saw that on a list that when I was researching it, but I haven't seen Waitress.
It's an amazing film, really funny. But the pies, that film made me want to eat an American pie, because I never had American pie, because they're totally different to any, like, our pies are like, pies.
Yeah.
But their pies are like pastry, but all of the rest is like thick filling with stuff on top. I don't know. It looks amazing. And then the beef bourguignon from Julie and Julia.
Again, I've not seen that. I don't know what that is.
And
whatever.
I know I put in number one Ghibli, but I think all the Ghibli food is amazing, and I had to put it in my list. And I think all the Ghibli food is incredible.
Cool. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you. Good stuff.
Yeah. So homework time. You're going to be watching Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah, definitely. I'll watch that.
Okay, cool.
No problem.
Good. What about
I
me?
think you have to watch Shinya Shokudo.
Shinya Shokudo.
Midnight Diner.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, from season 1. They're like 20-minute episodes.
You've talked about it a lot, and I've never watched it, so that's fine. That's cool. I'll watch some Midnight Diner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you recommend anything that you watched this week?
Yeah, I would recommend everyone go and watch the incredible, iconic TV show 24. Now it's on Disney+.
And I would recommend to probably watch WandaVision if you haven't already watched it. It's really good. And The Testament by Margaret Atwood.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. It's been a pleasure and a delight as always. Next time, we're going to be going back into YouTube because we enjoyed that so much last week. And this time, we're going to be going into the world of music videos. So it's not necessarily YouTube specifically, but we're going to be entering the world of music videos and giving our top 5 music videos of all time, which is going to be exciting because it's a lost art and it's a wonderful thing, which Adam Buxton can attest to. Because I know he likes it.
I love music videos.
I love a good music video for sure. So that's going to be really fun to research. I can't wait. And then that's it. That's us. That's us for this week. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. just a little side note. We hit 1,000 downloads this week, which is good.
That's amazing. What?
So our total lifetime downloads are at 1,000 now, which I'm pretty.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone who's been listening and downloading. I think that's pretty good for 20.
That's
We've put
amazing.
out, I think, 23 episodes so far. Is
Mm.
when we're recording. So I think 1,000 downloads out of 23 episodes is good. I'm happy with that. We'd love to grow the
Very
podcast, so
happy.
please go and find us on Apple Podcasts and other places and rate and review us. We really, truly would appreciate it.
Yes, please.
We've already got a lovely review on Apple Podcasts from Emma, which was really nice to read, and we'll shout out anyone else who gives us a review as well. Please
Thank you, Emma.
do that, and join us on social media. Join the conversation. Send us your top fives. Any top fives we've done. Send us any of those top fives to our Instagram page or our email, and we'll read them out on the podcast. So please send in your top fives, and follow us on all the social media channels. The links to all of those are in the show notes for this and every episode. And yeah, please join us. It's a pleasure. So yeah, thank you so much. Love
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.